As I said, we're here with well-known local student of knowledge, Eesa, and we just want to take the time to get a bit of a view on itikaf, and obviously a more scholarly perspective. We had the views yesterday from all the people doing itikaf at Chilal Masjid. So the first thing really, Eesa, is what is itikaf?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Itikaf is an Arabic word which is referring to one's retreating into the masjid, isolation of oneself, purely for the sake of ibadah. The Prophet ﷺ, it was his sunnah, it's been established by a number of authentic hadith, and the practice continuously of the Prophet ﷺ in every Ramadan, and sometimes he would actually do 20 days, which is narrated in the authentic narrations. And also actually it's not even restricted to Ramadan according to the scholars. So it's from a Shari point of view, you have a technical definition, which is one isolates oneself in the masjid, okay, without going outside and wasting any time, purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his ibadah. That's the technical nature, if you like.
Okay, thank you. And picking up on the fact that you said that you can do it outside of Ramadan, what's your advice to brothers who maybe can't do the whole 10 days because they're working? Because some brothers say, "Oh, well,
I think that's a good point, because a lot of people get kind of scared off by that. You know, they see 10 days and they think, "Well, I can't just do that." So, you know, we've got to be realistic. We're living in a time where it's difficult to do some of these things. Although, of course, when people put their minds to it, then people can take holiday, and it's better to do it for the proper 10 days. That's the sunnah. But the ulama differed over the minimum length of time, and some even said that between prayers, and some said 3 days and 2 days. But inshallah, the majority opinion, the correct position, inshallah, is that 1 complete day is the minimum length of time for i'tikaf. And that's certainly the position that I hold and I promote. But anyway, even the position of some of the ulama, minority, that between 2 prayers, the point still remains the same. One, just utilizing the masjid and its environment and the barakah of the masjid, isolating oneself, putting oneself to one side, and making it a spiritual retreat. You know, you can even do that between some of the prayers. So that's possible.
And when just to clarify, when you're saying 1 complete day, are you specifying Maghrib to Maghrib?
Yeah, that's the general understanding. You come at a salah time and you leave after a salah time, and Maghrib being the one, because that is the start of our night and the end of our day, according to the Shari calendar. So that's what would work, and certainly that's what we encourage people. You know, and it's a good idea. I think we were discussing this before, that that a lot of the Muslims, the youth should try and do it outside of Ramadan, so they can get into it, learn the mistakes, because a lot of people make a lot of mistakes during i'tikaf. They do a lot of chatting and wasting time, and that's only because they've never experienced being with other Muslims, you know, alone. And once you put people who are, you know, together in such a straitened circumstances, then they become closer to each other anyway. That's all you have, as you speak and so on. And now, although that's great, but not at this time, not in Ramadan, because we've got far greater things to be doing. So it's an idea that other Muslims should try and do it and arrange it for themselves throughout the year, so they get used to it. So when it comes to Ramadan, it's a pure and a clean option. And then for those people who want to do it in Ramadan for the extra barakah, we say to them, do it what you can. Weekend, 3 days, 4 days, make good intention and benefit from it.
And on that basis, in terms of obviously people who are new to itikaf or have done it for the first time, so they make some of those mistakes you just mentioned, is there a specific type of ibadah or specific dua that should be said that during itikaf?
Not necessarily. There's no specific dua. There's not even a specific reward for it. Yeah, there's not there's no like specific hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that said the one who sits in i'tikaf is like this. And there's no dua which has been narrated from the Prophet ﷺ that he did this. What we know though is that he would pitch his tent and he would isolate himself, and he would only ever come out or make himself available to the public for real need, for something like food or to wash or to clean. Other than that, he was busy reciting Quran and making dhikr, and the whole point of the isolation is to allow yourself to think about what's being said and being done. And qiyam is the system of the Prophet ﷺ, standing in prayer. That's what he loved, that's what he did, and that didn't stop in i'tikaf either. And especially when it's during the nights of Ramadan, then we know that the Prophet ﷺ himself in a hadith said that the one who stands at night, the nights of Ramadan, فَكُتِبَ لَهُ قِيَامُ اللَّيْلَ, for him is written the entire night as if he was in prayer. So that's one of the key aspects, of course, in i'tikaf.
Okay. And second to last question, which I think a lot of our sisters will want to know, because some messages allow women in, some don't. What's the actual ruling on whether?
Yeah, the majority of the scholars. I mean, there are some opinions from some of the ulama that you can do it at home, but the majority of scholars, and certainly the position that I hold and I advance, is that it has to be done in the masjid. For it to be i'tikaf, then it has to be done in the masjid. And we have precedents from the wives of the Prophet ﷺ doing that, and we certainly welcome that in here. In Chido Masjid, except that certainly this year it's been very, very difficult. A lot of people on i'tikaf, and with the temporariness of our wash facilities and so on, it has not been possible to offer it this year for the sisters. But we definitely encourage that. We encourage it at the other masajid. We tell the sister to go and take advantage. But again, really emphasizing the fact that when you enter i'tikaf, it's a great experience and a new experience for a lot of people, and they get a bit carried away with it, and they don't really take as much of benefit as they should. So one person, before they come into i'tikaf, the most important thing is to really be focused, very, very focused on what they're going to do.
Okay. The last question would just be really, from your point of view, what have you derived from i'tikaf, and what do you derive?
For me personally, I have to tell you that, as I said, I don't think there's any specific reward for i'tikaf, other than that I expect it to be rewarded for following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But for me, it's the most important time of the year for me, absolutely without shadow of a doubt. And I try to do it every single year, wherever I am, whether I'm in London or here, or this masjid or that masjid, then I try to do it every year, simply because it is the one time in the year where I can recharge myself, focus again, get my thoughts together, what I'm thinking about with the Quran, try and regain my link with the Quran, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For me, it's vital. If I didn't sit i'tikaf in a year, and this is from personal experience, because there was a year that I missed out, I suffer for the entire year. I suffer from that for the entire year, and it really is bad for me. And what I'm able to cover and focus on in i'tikaf, for me, I can't say anything other than it is the most single important greatest experience in a Muslim's life, to isolate oneself for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the intention to try and get closer to Him in the life that we live in the style that we live in the society that we live in. It is the single most important thing that for me personally. So it's an absolute must, and I really advise the brothers and sisters to, after they've focused and make sure they're not going to waste their time, please go ahead and do it.
Okay.